What's up, everyone? Back again with the next episode of Journey in the Generations, where I tried to reach top 500 in the NatDex OU ladder using only mono types. So, in this episode, we will be using Mono Rock. So, Mono Rock is definitely not the best type this generation, or pretty much any generation. It has a lot of common weaknesses, but thanks to it being NatDex, we do have some key Pokemon back, like the Ultra Beast, like Nihilego and Stakataka, Lycanrock Dusk. Sorry, that came back in the DLC. I meant Ammostar and Diancie all came back thanks to NatDex. So we definitely have some fun Pokemon to be using. And with that, we're going to jump into the team. So first up, we have Nihilego. Nihilego is going to be like a late game sweeper with its Choice Scarf and decent 103 base speed. It can outspeed some very important threats, like I believe Landorus. It can. I don't think it outspeed Gliscor, but Gliscor are never Choice Scarfed, so it does outspeed Gliscor essentially. It outspeeds non-Choice Scarfed Garchomp, other big threats like that, as well as its Poison type, bringing neutrality to fighting, which can come in quite handy. So with Beast Boost, it increases its special attack stage after every KO, and it will be getting some nice KOs because it does have some decent special attack. It also has very impressive special defense at 299 and pretty good HP at 359. This is further boosted by Tyranitar's Sandstorm, putting it at just shy of 450 special defense, making it actually quite nice to tank a lot of neutral special attacks. So moveset wise, we have Power Gem, which is just generally good stab. It can take care of a lot of fire types in the tier, a lot of flying types in the tier, like for example Zapdos is quite present in this meta, so it's quite nice for that, as well as just generally being strong stab and not being having any immunity. Next up, we have Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb offers a bit more immediate power than Power Gem, as well as being super effective on fairies and grass types, which are pretty key because this tier has a lot of fairies and a lot of grass types. So not a lot of grass types, it has some powerful grass types, like Mega Venusaur, which this will hit neutrally, or Tangrowth, which my team gives a team a lot of trouble. So it's quite nice, as well as being able to offer, as I said, immediately slightly more powerful stab. Next up, we have Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam is important for dragons, like Komodo, like Hydreigon, and I believe there's some fighting types in the tier, like Mega Lopunny and Mega Metacham, who also definitely can give my team trouble, so Dazzling Gleam is nice for them. And last but not least, we have Hidden Power Ice, so you'll see a lot of ice moves in my team, and the sole reason for all of these is Landorus, Gliscor, and Garchomp. These things are such massive threats to my team, and can pretty much cleanly sweep them if I let them get away with it. So we do have a lot of ice coverage because of that. The next member is Stakataka. So Stakataka, I'm going to jump straight into the stats as they are very, very specific. So if you want to use the Stakataka, this only with a lonely nature, 14 IVs in defense is the way you can get this set up on Stakataka. So what this lets you do is have exactly 1 point more in attack than your defense. This lets you score a plus attack every time you score a KO thanks to your Beast Boost instead of the ordinary plus defense. Now, the rest of its EVs are just put into special defense because it's nice to have a lot of special defense for taking hits, just neutral, like bolt beam coverage, for example, maybe like flamethrowers and stuff. Just generally nice to have that neutrality and good special defense. Again, further compounded by Tyranitar Sandstorm, putting it at over 450. So with Trick Room, this thing pretty much outspeeds absolutely anything in the tier, having a disgustingly low 31 speed, which is fantastic for Trick Room. This pairs fantastically with Gyro Ball, making it almost always max power Gyro Ball, and it's stab boosted. So we could be looking at easily 225 base power off Gyro Balls. Next up, we have Stone Edge. Stone Edge is generally quite strong stab, being 100 base. Now, unfortunately, it's not the most accurate. So because of that, we have Rocky EMZ. Rocky EMZ turns this into a devastatingly powerful Continental Crush, especially after 1 KO. So even Landorus, for example, doesn't like swap you into a Continental Crush from Stakataka. Finally, we have Earthquake. Earthquake is super important for dealing with steel types, like Ferrothorn, for example, who can wall out Gyro Balls and Stone Edges, especially after a boost. It can be quite strong, as well as having little to threaten Stakataka back. It's also really good against Toxapex, for example. A +1 Earthquake off Stakataka is going to do a ton of damage. So that's super important. Next up we have Ammostar. Ammostar is Shucka Berry. So what Shucka Berry does is it allows me to eat an Earthquake from things like Landorus, from things like Garchomp. Because of its naturally decent defense stat at 125, Shucka Berry will weaken the Earthquake to just about live, and on that turn, I can usually Shell Smash and activate my Weak Armor, giving Ammostar 3 stages of speed and 2 stages of special defense. Unfortunately, it does lose 2 stages of defense to be able to do this because of Weak Armor. 4 stages of speed, my bad. It will lose 3 stages of defense and 1 stage of special defense in order to get this combo off, but this does allow it to become a quite immediately potent threat, being able to like scald things, spread burns, and generally be very strong stab. It can throw around ice beams against things like dragons like Salamence, Dragonite, Altaria, and then throw ice beams against the usual threats, Gliscor, Garchomp, and Landorus. You'll probably be sick of me hearing me say those names because they appear so often and they're such big threats to my team. As well as that, also being able to hit things like Ferrothorn neutrally. And there's another big name in the tier that I'm kind of forgetting about that Ice Beam hits, but it might come to me later on in the episode. And finally we have Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Fire is really good for hitting Ferrothorn if it stays in against me, for example. It's really good against hitting Scizor. So Ammostar can actually live bullet punches from Scizor. Even after one bullet punch with Weak Armor, it can still live the next one thanks to it's just being neutral, being water type. So that's really good. Oh, I remember Scald is very key for hitting Heatran. Heatran is such a big threat to my team. So and that's going to be why I use Ammostar. And we'll move on to Tyranitar. So Tyranitar is going to be a very, very bulky Assault Vest Tyranitar with special defense. It lives pretty much any special attacks, even some fighting ones, because of its monstrously high special defense, paired with its impressive 404 HP. With that, our only physical attack is going to be Pursuit, so I've invested very minimally into attack, which seems a bit strange, but Pursuit is just going to be for kind of catching things like Greninja maybe, because I can live a hit. It won't hit super effectively, but it's nice to get that small bit of chip. Hitting things like Tapu Lele is quite important. Maybe Alakazam if it comes in and wants to try and sweep me with Focus Blast. Just generally being able to hit things that want to swap out. Next up we have Bolt Beam coverage in Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. So for those who play competitive, Bolt Beam is a common term for Ice Beam and Thunderbolt coverage because it hits almost everything in the game, at least neutrally. So it's just quite nice to have that. And finally, we have Fire Blast for very important threats like Skarmory, Ferrothorn, Scizor, other steel types like that. Next up we have Lycanrock. Lycanrock is going to be a max attack Adamant Tough Claws Lycanrock. This thing hits very impressive levels of attack. I think around 530, maybe 540. And that's before Tough Claws boosting my attacks. So this thing just simply hits hard. Its moveset wise we have Accelerock, which thankfully is actually boosted by Tough Claws to about 52 base, I think, off the top of my head. Maybe 52 and a half. I'm not going to do the maths right now. Which also is boosted by Stab, which makes this quite a powerful priority move for late game sweeps or for outspeeding key threats. Next up we have Close Combat. Close Combat boosts to, I believe, at 156 base with Tough Claws. So Adamant, Tough Claws, Close Combat, Max Attack Choice Band is just really strong and can break holes in walls like Ferrothorn or maybe other steel types that my team might come across that I otherwise couldn't. Next up we have Drill Run. Drill Run is really good for taking care of steel types that can tank close combat, namely Aegislash, who's a big threat to my team. So that's kind of why I have Drill Run. As well as that, it hits things like Toxapex quite powerful. Actually, I think a tiny bit weaker than Psychic Fangs. But regardless, Drill Run generally has better coverage, being able to hit things like dark types like Tyranitar. But I could click like Drill Run on a Tyranitar, expecting them maybe to want to swap out to Toxapex, if that makes sense. I'm kind of rambling now, so I'll move on. Next up we have Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs is good for breaking screens, which I don't see too often in NatDex, but they are definitely a threat. So that's important to be able to break those, as well as hitting poison types, which can actually give my team a bit of trouble. Toxapex being the big one, and Moongus be another big one as well. Importantly, it can hit fighting types. It can hit like Conkeldurr, though I probably won't live a Mach Punch, but in case Conkeldurr wants to swap in, or for example maybe Medicham or Lopunny you want to swap in onto Lycanrock for some reason, Psychic Fangs is good for catching them off guard and getting a KO. And last but possibly least, Diancie. The reason I say possibly least is because I'm considering changing this to a Mega Aerodactyl build instead, as Mega Aerodactyl is very nice for dealing with things like grass types like Venusaur Mega, for example, as well as being able to outspeed a lot of this tier, being very fast. So what Diancie does is going to be my Mega. I actually really like Diancie's design, which is why I chose this over Aerodactyl. Hopefully I will put in some work. So moveset wise, sorry, we're going to go stats first. Stat wise, we are a naive with max speed. So the reason for this is it outspeeds some key threats after Mega Evolving. Before Mega Evolution, its speed does not look very impressive, but it hits 350 when it does Mega Evolve. We have most of our investment into special attack. So the reason for that is the Hidden Moonblast and Hidden Power Ice is quite nicely and strong. And we just have some investment into attack to increase the Diamond Storm's power. So we went for a minus special defense nature because it will be patched up nicely by Tyranitar Sandstorm, putting it at 450 special defense, or just over 450 special defense, which is quite reminiscent of Stack Attack and Nihilego actually. And defense wise, this can be boosted by my Diamond Storms. Moveset wise, as I said, we have Diamond Storm, which is good for generally strong stab, being able to hit specially defensive walls who can otherwise wall out Moonblast and Hidden Power Ice. And most importantly, there's a 50% chance to hit to increase my defense by 2 stages, which is quite a lot. Next up we have Moonblast. Moonblast is generally a very strong stab, being able to hit fighting types super effectively, dragon types super effectively, which is really important because Diancie is neutral to fighting thanks to its part fairy type. Next up we have Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock will be able to just be team support, good team support, being able to break sashes, breaking sturdies, which is good for things like Nihilego and Stack Attack to kind of go ham later in the game and just click buttons and get beast boosts. And finally, Hidden Power Ice. There's no need to explain Hidden Power Ice. It's there for Gliscor, it's there for Garchomp, it's there for Landorus. So that's going to be the team. We're going to pause there and we're going to jump into some games and hopefully find some good ones. So unfortunately I did accidentally play 2 games on this account when I meant to log out and play on a different account, and because of that we gained some slight ELO, which we shouldn't have. But regardless of that, I will reset the win-lose ratio from now on at the end of every episode so we can easier see how much we win and lost, and hopefully the climb goes well, and I will pause there till we find some games. So we have our first game, and right off the bat we can see that things like Landorus are going to be an issue, as well as things like Doublade, because it's most likely Eviolite. Greninja can be difficult too, but we do have some things to deal with that, such as Tyranitar. We can nicely eat up Volcanion and Manectric, and Hoopa Unbound shouldn't be too much of an issue for me in this game. So we're going to open up with Diancie, expecting them to maybe want to open up Landorus, as they actually go into Greninja turn 1. So this can be difficult for me because I am minus the special defense nature. I think I'm going to have to take in Tyranitar here to eat what's hopefully a Choice Scarf Greninja, as they go straight for a Gunk shot and reveal the fact they are actually Protean. So I will try Pursuit Trap them here, as they definitely want to keep this alive for later in the game. And we get a nice chunk of damage off from them. Unfortunately, they take out Landorus here. So I think for the most part, I almost want to try sack Tyranitar, and what I think might be Stealth Rock coming out. But I think Diancie is actually the weakest member of this game, so I'm going to swap into Diancie here on the Earthquake, as I actually just survive thanks to my nice defenses. I will click Hidden Power Ice here and scout for Scarf, as they are not Scarf, and I take care of Landa, which is super nice, allowing me now to Magic Bounce anything they throw my way. So I think I have to go back into Tyranitar here. We know this isn't Ash Greninja, as they U-turn. Good play. That does a lot of damage to my Tyranitar, unfortunately. So that was a good play on their part. I don't think they're banded, but they might be. At that damage, it's very possible they are indeed banded. So Volcanion comes out here, and I kind of have to give them a KO. So I'm just debating what my most expendable member is here. I think it might be Ammostar in this game. But Ammostar can go a long way to tank things like Doublade. It might be Diancie, but I do want Stealth Rock down to chip away things like this Greninja. Yeah, I think Diancie is the least expendable member. Unfortunately, we don't get Stealth Rocks up, as they actually sub. So, I want to get Stealth Rocks down, but this could be an issue if I let it set up in my face. So I will just try break it right away with a Diamond Storm. Now, unfortunately, we definitely die, but Lycanrock can kind of come in here and click Drill Run, which should get a KO, assuming it connects on pretty much anything on their team. I'm hoping they go into Doublade, expecting me to go for a Rock move, as they actually give me Volcanion, which is nice for me. Though I do need to keep Lycanrock alive for the likes of Greninja in the late game, as Manectric comes out. So Tyranitar should be able to eat Manectric's hit nicely enough, thanks to its really impressive special defense stat, as that did very little damage. And we're just going to click a Fire Blast here. As they Volt Switch into hopefully Doublade, that would be fantastic for me. Does this connect? That is so nice for me, as that is a ton of damage off on a huge threat to my team. So here I think we keep Tyranitar alive and go into Ammostar, and they should activate my weak armor. Now if they go for a second Shadow Sneak, I will actually outspeed their entire team even if they are Scarfed, and here I can click Scald and get a KO. Manectric comes back out, but I am still speedier. I'm just going to go for a Scald, as it is my most powerful neutral attack. And we get the burn as well, which is super important. So this kind of opens up for a nice clean out with Nihilego. Dazzling Gleam is definitely my play, as it hits both Hoopa Unbound and Greninja super effectively, and especially after this Beast Boost. I don't think Nihilego even falls to a Water Shuriken, so I can't see this Greninja being able to KO me. As they reveal to be Scarfed and go for a Gunk Shot, so that's a good play to resist my Dazzling Gleam, but unfortunately it's nowhere enough to kill me, and I will get the KO next turn. So that's a nice first game, and we're going to pause there till we find another one. So we have our next game, and there is two massive threats I completely forgot to mention about in the team preview in Heatran and Lopunny Mega. So these things are very strong against my team, so I'm going to have to play this quite carefully. And just looking at their team, this basically says, yeah, we shut down Mono Rock, so I expect this right off the bat to be maybe a loss, but we're going to try our best nonetheless to not lose this one, though it will definitely be hard. So we're actually going to open up the Ammostar, as they have a lot of things on their team that can threaten me immediately. So they go Greninja, and with this we can't afford this to be weakened. We need this for the likes of Heatran and Landorus, so I'm actually going to go into Tyranitar here and hopefully live a Specs Hydro Pump, which I expect to come out as they go for us. Water Shuriken. I think I just Pursuit in this position just to get a small bit of chip off on Greninja. What do I expect them to go in? No, I'm going to Ice Beam, hoping them to go into like Garchomp or Landorus. As they go in Tangrowth, that's okay for me too, as that is most certainly Assault Vest based on that damage. Because it's Assault Vest, I think Stack Attack I should be able to live. Thanks to its max special defense and Sandstorm, it lives special attacks quite nicely. And here I can click Trick Room. So, worst case scenario, they go in something like Landorus and intimidate me, as they go straight for an Earthquake and unfortunately crit. So that would have probably killed there regardless. So that's not a huge issue here. Though it is a huge issue is I think I can't just lose off the bat. I can go for a Diamond Storm boost, which should let me live Earthquake, which I don't get, unfortunately. And I'll try go for a Diamond Storm boost again. I don't get it again, and I die because my Sandstorm is down. So that was a very, very bad play on my part, actually. I shouldn't have gone for the boost there. So unfortunately, Nihilego is the only thing that can really kill Heatran here. Sorry, Tangrowth, but unfortunately, Heatran swaps in now for free. As surprisingly, Landorus comes out. I don't think I valued Nihilego too much in the endgame, so I will Sludge Bomb here, as they go straight for an Earthquake. I will scout if this is Scarf or not, and just click Close Combat here, as it is indeed Scarf. So unfortunately, despite the fact I can Shell Smash in this thing's face, Water Shuriken will still KO me. So we live thanks to Shaka, and we get the boost. But unfortunately, Greninja just wins now by clicking Water Shuriken. I really don't see a way around. This is Lop when he comes in, presumably wanting to fake out. So this team is just a huge amount of threats to my team. Like, there's absolutely really nothing I could have done across the board against their team. Which is an unfortunate second game. They give me Heatran, but again, as I said, there's no way I can beat the likes of Lopunny, Greninja, and Garchomp here, unfortunately. So they go for the Mega Evolution and get the KO, and here they can easily just click Close Combat and win the game. GG. So unfortunately, that's a clean loss for me there, and we're going to pause till we find the next one. So we have our next game, and immediately there are some threats such as Greninja. Altaria, if it sets up, can be a threat, as well as Sceptile, but they're definitely not as immediately threatening as the last team had. So with this, I think I love Nihilego in this game, once Chansey especially has been KO'd. Tapu Koko can be a threat, but with Tyranitar, I believe it will live thanks to its amazing special defense. We're going to open up a Diancie as we usually would, as they go Greninja. So, I believe Tyranitar can live these hits quite nicely. It is female, which says to me this is 100% not Ash Greninja. If they do get the Scald Burn, it would be unfortunate, as they do. So that is unfortunate because they will chip me a somewhat more every turn. But here, I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt as they hopefully Scald me again, as they go for a Spike. Unfortunate, that was a good play. They might go for another Spike, and I'll try Ice Beam them here, as they taunt me and turn to Dark type. So Fire Blast should hit most things neutrally unless they go for a Scald here. So this isn't the best start to my game, but Fire Blast does get the KO nicely. Unfortunately, they do get spikes down, and I do not have any way of getting rid of those. But even still, I believe Nihilego does get quite a clean sweep towards the end game. I'm going to Ice Beam this thing right off the bat, as they actually give it to me. Surprising. They end up forfeiting there, so that was a strange forfeit. They definitely could have come back from that. Sceptile still did a lot of damage to my team, as well as Chansey being somewhat hard to break, but we take those wins when we can, so we're going to pause there until we find. So we have our next game, and it does have some cool unconventional Pokemon here, such as Leovani, which is definitely going to be throwing sticky webs down, as well as things like Magneton. With Marowak, yeah, I think they're going for, I was going to say they might be going for Trick Room, but that doesn't make sense paired with sticky webs. So it seems they're going for like a somewhat slower build, trying to KO thanks to sticky webs. So right off the bat, I know Stack Attack is so good in this game. It cleans up with so many KOs, as well as Nihilego being quite decent too, especially when Magneton is taken care of. I think we're going to go into Diancie here, as they open up with Hoopa Unbound, and I will just Mega Evolve and get my rocks down as early as possible. I should live a Hyperspace Fury, I believe, or a Psyshock. That did tons of damage, but Moonblast should do a decent chunk here, as it actually ends up KOing them. Nice. So my rocks are definitely beneficial to me here, and they might want to try get rid of them with Mantine, as they reveal to be heavy duty boots. So Diamond Storm should KO if it connects, which of course it does not connect at all. I should expect no less. But they do reveal to me that they are not Focus Sash, and they are heavy duty boots, which means Stack Attack I should get a clean KO here, assuming. Okay, good. Their Grass Whistle missed. So Stone Edge should KO, but I'm not about to miss, so I'm going to use my Continental Crush, which might seem like a bit overkill, but as I said, I'm not about to miss and them hit Grass Whistle. So now they have very little swap instance between Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball should get a KO here, nice and clean. On Mantine we click Stone Edge, and on Marowak and Magneton we click... wow! Wow, that just KO'd straight up. That is so strong. So Sylveon comes back out, and I expect maybe a swap into Magneton to come here to try and wear away my turns of Trick Room as they go straight for a Protect. So I'll Earthquake again as Mantine comes out. That's okay, I should live one hit. Please don't Scald Burn. Of course they Scald Burn. I do believe this still gets just short of a KO. So they are still in a very bad position here. As Magneton comes out, and we'll click Earthquake, which will get the KO, no doubt. So they're taking Sylveon here, and they will protect off this one attack, as they actually just give me the game. So I wasn't too worried there between Nihilego and Lycanrock Dusk. Unfortunately, Sylveon really didn't stand much of a chance, even if it was Wish Protecting to try stall. So that's GG, and we're going to pause there till we find the next game. So we have a next game, and right off the bat we can see some massive threats on their team too, such as Melmetal, who my team absolutely hates dealing with. Landorus as well can be quite threatening, as well as Toxapex. Thankfully I have no issue with Charizard, Cinderace and Zapdos, so I will have hopefully some luck dealing with those. So right off the bat we're going to open up with Diancie as they go Melmetal and want to get a KO just right off, like I'm getting a KO turn 1. And unfortunately there's little I can do about that, so here I'm just going to get my Stealth Rocks down and just give them a KO here. Now I believe my best bet of living this is probably Ammostar, or maybe Lycanrock. Sorry, Stakataka. So we're going to go Ammostar and try Scald Burn them, which opens up Stakataka so much in the end game. So unfortunately we don't get the burn, and because of my weak armor I will get the KO, so that's very unfortunate for me here. If I go Stakataka, I run the risk of them opening up Lando, so we will go Tyranitar here and click Fire Blast, which puts them quite weak, but again it gives them basically another KO on my team. So now's where Stakataka should shine, and I hopefully should just live one Iron, double Iron Bash, which I do. And here I think I click Earthquake. If they go into Zapdos, Stone Edge should KO, I believe. But I'm not going to take the risk, and I'm click Continental Crush as they go in Lando, which is great for me as I get a critical hit and actually puts me back at neutral after Beast Boost. So they can definitely play around my Trick Room here as I try click Earthquake and just do as much damage as possible, as unfortunately it didn't do too much, and they don't get the Scald Burn, thankfully. They could easily swap out to Zapdos here, but I need Toxapex as weakened as possible, as I get a KO again, which is super, super good for me. So this actually kind of opens up Nihilego and Lycanrock to just click buttons in the endgame, such as Power Gem. As Cinderace comes out, I'll try Trick Room here as they go straight for a Pyro Ball. So I believe in this position, Nihilego can potentially win the game by just clicking Power Gem. I think because of Melmetal's low special defense, it shouldn't be able to live a +1 Power Gem, or will it? If it does, I believe Accelerock can still win the end game. We're about to find out. Yeah, unfortunately that does live, so that is bulky. And they click Earthquake there. So I think we're going to have to go for a Hail Mary here with Accelerock and hope it just manages to KO everything on their team. It is Choice Band Adamant Tough Claws boosted. And that is Mega Charizard, so this should end up getting the KO. GG. So that was a very close game. Melmetal was such a huge threat to my team, but we played the endgame quite nicely and managed to actually win. The crit on Continental Crush was definitely big, so I won't deny that at all. But the no burn from Scald on Melmetal was also quite big, so good game there, and we're going to pause there till we find the next one. So we have our next game, and here again, Heatran is a big issue for my team, as well as Caesar can be quite threatening. Landorus as well, but we definitely do have some things to deal with Landorus. Slowbro can be annoying too, but not the end of the world for my team, so I completely forgot I played this guy. So, Caesar can be an issue for me, so I think Ammostar is my best play here. So unfortunately I cannot save Ammostar for the Landorus. And here we're going to go straight for a Hidden Power Fire. If they swap into the likes of Slowbro or Heatran, we can work around. Oh yeah. I clearly can't type at all. So Bullet Punch here will unfortunately, I think, get the KO because they have Swords Dance and my Weak Armor is activated. So I want to sack something here, and I think Diancie is the stack to the Bullet Punch, as Lycanrock can click Accelerock here and get the KO, as it should be just about weak enough. Nice. So my Ammostar is good again for later in the game. Landorus is a huge threat actually. And unfortunately my Accelerock won't do too much against it. But I don't think I value Lycanrock too much more in the end. Actually, yeah, I'm going to have to go into Ammostar here and sack it on the Earthquake. As it's not actually a sack, I forgot I had my Shuckleberry Berry still. So that was a bad play. If this is Scarf, I just did a very bad play there. So I should have saved my Ammostar for later in the game because it would have lived that and I could have Shell Smash in his face. I completely forgot it wasn't Sash and it was Shuckleberry. So I'm going against my own wisdom here. Unfortunately, I'll have to come in Nihilego and click Hidden Power Ice, but they will most likely swap into Heatran here. Or Tyranitar, who can easily live most of my hits. So they actually give me Landorus. Interesting. That's quite good for the endgame, as they take in Heatran. I think Tyranitar should be able to live a hit quite nicely, as Earth Power does basically nothing. And I'll try Pursuit them here. So Pursuit can do a bit of chip on them here, which is nice, as it should open up things like Lycanrock more in the end game. As Tyranitar comes out, and I'll try go hard into Lycanrock and get a close combat off. As they go for Earthquake, good play there. So that was a bad play. I shouldn't have swapped hard into my Lycanrock. I played this game very, very poorly, unfortunately, and it will cost me some ELO, I think. So my Tyranitar probably can't live, and I really have not much to threaten it unless I paralyze them here. Yeah, as they seem to be possibly banded, and would want to KO my entire team. So that is unfortunate. I played that game extremely badly, somewhat disappointing. But we will learn from that and hopefully do better in the next game. So we're going to pause there till we find the next game. So we're fighting the same guy again. Unfortunately, he gave me a lot of ELO last time I fought him. Put me up quite high, but we could definitely lose this one here, especially as they now know what kind of tools my team has. So we're going to open up with Diancie again. Hopefully this time they won't open up with Melmetal, but I'd be surprised if they didn't, as it served them very well last time. As they do exactly open up Melmetal. Though my Stealth Rocks are so important, I'm going to throw them down again in this game, and Diancie honestly doesn't do much. So here, I think I kind of played the same as last time, and I hope to Scald Burn them with Ammostar. And unfortunately, I don't get the Scald Burn again. No, I believe Tyranitar was my play last time. So far, this is a carbon copy of how the last game went. But I expect things to slightly change with this play here. So last time I went into Stack Attacka immediately, which I think is still my best play, as I do live a double Iron Bash, as they're not banded, and that unfortunately cost me the game. So we will close combat here, but it's not enough. Nah, there's no way I win this game, unfortunately. Short of Power Gem critting here, as I actually crit and still didn't do enough, so GG. Very short game there. Played a bit poorly. I really relied on the Skull Burn heavily, but I thought they were banded from last time, so we're going to pause there till we find the next game. So we have our next game. Immediately we can see that Ferrothorn is going to be annoying, as well as Heatran. Toxapex can be a bit difficult to deal with, but we definitely have the tools Caesar is a threat too. So this is what I said when I meant when I said earlier that Rock just has a lot of common weaknesses. We see them a lot here in NatDex as well. So we'll open up Diancie, who unfortunately, honestly, isn't pulling its weight right now, but we'll try Diamond Storm right off the bat. In the last game, I might try and run Aerodactyl instead and see if we can get a W with that, because Diancie's just really not pulling its weight. So they can go for a Scald here, as they go for Toxic and I bounce it right back, which is okay with me because I can set up some Diamond Storms here. As they go into Ferrothorn. So Diamond Storm, I don't think it's hit once this entire game. But maybe that's my fault for using Lynchman's accurate move, I can't deny that. We'll go Tyranitar here and hopefully be able to Fire Blast them as they Gyro Ball and do a decent chunk of damage. If they go into Heatran, great play. And my Fire Blast missed. Lovely. So we'll swap into Lycanrock here, expecting maybe them to want to swap into Heatran on the Fire Blast. As they go in Tapu Koko. Interesting. Now I don't know if I can live a hit, but Tyranitar should be able to. Especially if they are especially offensive. As that did very little damage. So Caesar comes out, and I'm going to try Fire Blast this right off the bat, just so it can't Swords Dance in my face. As they go straight for a Bullet Punch, which is the better play, I think. And here, I think I have to take out Ammostar and kind of hope for a Scald Burn. Nice, so RNG finally works in my favour for the first time, basically this entire episode. And I'll click Hidden Power Fire here as Tapu Koko comes out. Again, I think Diancie is just so expendable in this game. And they do defog. I can try throw down more Stealth Rocks here, which is exactly what I'll do, as they Volt Switch out. They take an Umbreon, which lets me get off a Moonblast for free. Not what I expected him to go in. But looking at their team here, Stakataka goes in really hard towards the end game. Come on, let this be the one Diamond Storm that actually lands. Nice, and I did a ton of damage too. Now they do reveal they are Earth Power, which is good for me to know that Stakataka won't live. And here I think Lycanrock kind of comes in and clicks Close Combat. So we take care of Heatran, which is nice. It does open up Caesar a bit to come out, but with that, Ammostar can always come out. As Tapu Koko. I think Nihilego is my most expendable member at this position. As they actually go straight for a defog again. Now I don't think they'll Volt Switch here, as they actually gave me Tapu Koko. Interesting. I thought they'd maybe go hard into Caesar. Sorry, I thought they'd go hard into Ferrothorn in this position. I think I'll just click Power Gem again. Okay, that does no damage. And they cure the burn off their Caesar, which is definitely a huge issue for me. They can click Toxic here, as they Wish. Presumably it's going to be a Wish Protect variant. I will try Close Combat, as it hits most things neutrally and quite hard. There's no way this should survive Close Combat. It is Adamant, Tough Claws boosted. So Lycanrock is super important in the endgame for Ferrothorn and Umbreon. And again, I think Nihilego is the most expendable member here, as they T-Wave me. If they can just straight up KO me here, that would be nice. So maybe I should have stayed in with my Lycanrock. And unfortunately, yeah, I should have stayed straight in with Lycanrock and just gone for a Close Combat again. It probably would have KO'd. As all I let them do here is set up in my face. But when I do take in Lycanrock, they can always go back into Ferrothorn, which could definitely be an issue for my team. Nice. So they go straight for the KO there, and I'm going to go straight for a Close Combat. If they go in Toxapex, good play. As they actually give me so much damage on Ferrothorn. So in this position, Ammostar is definitely the most expendable member. But it can also live a Gyro Ball nicely. And we want that alive to deal with Umbreon in the end game. As expected, Toxapex comes out here. And I'll hopefully go for a Scald Burn. Nice. So that'll just be a decent bit of chip on them. and will Shell Smash in their face to say kind of like threaten them immediately. So the end game play here, I believe, is to get in Stack Attacka. Scald does a lot of damage. My Scald is definitely not the strongest, but what I want them to do here is try and force them to have to recover on the turn Stack Attacka comes in. So they will recover this turn, no doubt. And I'll just try to get a bit of damage off with Ammostar as they go into Umbreon. Interesting. So they presumably want to try and Wish Pass here again. I believe Continental Crush in this position just kind of gets a KO. As they Heal Bell and Cure the Burn, good play on their part. But I can't see them living a 397 stab Continental Crush on absolutely anything on their team. Nice. So we get the boost. Toxapex can absolutely come out and haze me here, as they give me Ferrothorn as well. You know, I'm slower than you. So at +2, I don't see Toxapex living this at all, which should be a game for me. GG. So I'm going to see there where we ended up ELO-wise. I believe we started around 1360, I think. Oof. We did not climb high yet. Hopefully that guy gave us some good points. If not, I might try and find another game. We're going to have to refresh a few times here waiting for this ladder to update, as sometimes it takes a while this time of day for some reason. Maybe it's just more popular. But once that updates, 1394, not too bad. We got 20 points for that, so we're up 34. I would like to try and reach 1400 and this episode, so I'll try find one more game and we will pause there. So we have our next game, and here we can see Venusaur can be definitely a big trouble, as well as Seismitoad and Heatran, but my team for the most part doesn't have too much problem with Espeon, Dragonite and Articuno. So I said I was going to try Aerodactyl this game and I completely forgot, so that's my bad. He would have been quite nice in this game against things like Venusaur, but we will try and make do regardless. So we're going to open up Diancie again as they go Venusaur. Is it Mega? I assume it is. And I think we live one hit. It is Mega. Wow, that did a ton of damage. And Diamond Storm didn't do too much, but upon Mega evolving, it will do a lot more. Because I will get the extra 100 base attack. Nice. So that did good damage and put them in the range where it kind of threatens them with almost my entire team. I almost want to go into Stack Attacka, but they might be running Earth Power, so unfortunately I cannot take that risk. Here, close combat should KO. But I will go for Accelerock just to be safe, as they go in Seismitoad. And they are Rocky Helm. I think Tyranitar should live in Earth Power. Unless they're Earthquake. They are Earthquake, unfortunately. My Shockberry Ammostar can live nicely, but it won't be able to threaten much with a KO, so I'll try to Pursuit them as I actually go for a Drain Punch. Yikes. Not looking good for me right now. So I think I'd go in Lycanrock here and click Close Combat, which should put them in range of basically anything else. They will Drain Punch here and get most of it back, unfortunately. Please go for Earthquake here. Do not Drain Punch me, as I'm actually faster. That's not good, but I just about live nonetheless. And Ice Beam should KO them at this percentage as they go into Espeon. So unless that's Choice Scarf, which it isn't because it's leftovers, I will get a KO here too. So this KO is most things on their team. They'll go for an Extreme Speed here, and unfortunately I don't live, but it does let me set up my Trick Room at Stack Attacka, as that is presumably banded based on the damage. As they go Heatran, and I can click Earthquake here. As they go back into Dragonite, great play. I'll try Continental Crush as they go back into Heatran, and I will just Stone Edge here. So they're playing this endgame quite well, but I should be able to get one more KO here regardless. Articuno comes out, and I'm actually going to Earthquake here and let them Ice Beam me, as it lets me reset up my Trick Room, assuming I don't get frozen. And here Gyro Ball just starts getting KOs. So they can't really survive Gyro Ball or Stone Edges here. I think Gyro Ball should KO, but Stone Edge definitely will. Unfortunately, I run the risk of it missing, as we take care of that regardless. So in this position, I think I click Gyro Ball regardless of Stone Edge being super effective, as I should be able to get a KO here. Nice. GG. So you played that game very well. I think double Trick Rooming and the Articuno was key to winning that game there. Thanks to Earthquake, I didn't hit them, and I could reset up my Trick Room. So we're going to wait there and see how many points we got for that, but that should push me over the 1400 range. Now that was definitely a difficult episode, as Rock, it's really fun, and I'm really looking forward to like Fast Rock being back in Monotypes when most of these threats come back to the type. But overall, it just has a lot of common weaknesses. Let's see if the letter has updated. 1414. Not bad. We started with 1360, so we got 54 points. If we can continue this trend for the next few episodes, about like roughly 50 every episode, I know this is a lot slower than the first two episodes. We got a lot more points in those. We can hopefully clear this in like 3 or 4 more episodes time. So 6 wins, 3 losses isn't the worst. I'm disappointed at one or two of the losses, as I definitely played quite badly. I could have played better, but with some of those wins, they were quite nice. So that's going to be the episode today. I will, as usual, leave the team linked below if you want to, for some reason, use this. This team should be mostly viable in Monotype after the DLC, as most of these Pokemon are coming back. I don't think Diancie is, but we will use Aerodactyl instead, which honestly is probably going to be better. With that, if you want to check out more content, or if you want to get to chat to me, chat to my community about Pokemon, Monotypes, or just things in general, the Discord, as usual, is linked down below. We'd be happy to have you there, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care.